Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 Let's Play. We're continuing with Silver's Very Hard mode. So let's get back to answering some of these questions. And folks, just as a bit of a heads up, I'm not exactly sure if it's YouTube or Google Plus doing this, but I took a one-day break in between parts 2 and 3 to edit up parts for SGB throughout the week. And it looks like a lot of comments were removed or cut in half. I don't know, because maybe Google Plus thinks they're spam or something like that. I don't know, but if I miss something that you might have written, I do apologize, but I'm going to assume there's nothing I can really do about that. But I'll try and answer as many as I can anyway. So anyway, let's begin. So DBZ Overlord asks, John, what do you think of The Bouncer? It was actually one of the first PS2 games I ever owned. Very pretty game, very short game. It's pretty much a beat 'em up. It was used to show off the technical capabilities of the PS2, and it did its job because I thought the game looked gorgeous. But the game was mostly cutscenes, and it was Metal Gear Solid without being Metal Gear Solid. But it's pretty fun. Multiplayer can be pretty good when you unlock all the characters, and it's a good time. I gotta get it again for my collection. I used to have it, but it disappeared on me. Gary Herman asks, do you plan on doing any semi-blind Let's Plays of new releases? Like, the basic controls of the game, but everything else is new. Doubtful. I don't like playing games blind for Let's Plays. For streams, that's a different story because, well, I think they're different in terms of categories. But for a Let's Play, no, I like to at least play the game one or two times before recording myself for the sake of, a Let's Play. Can I get any more redundant, folks? Alright, Poison X asks, are you ever going to review Sonic and the Secret Rings? Well, I did mention it at the beginning of the Sonic Marathon. It was one of the games that I initially reviewed back when I first started Some Call Me Johnny. And really the only thing I can say is when I feel like going back to the Sonic universe for the review channel, it might be the first thing I go back to, considering that's the only one I haven't touched yet for, a re-release. So, sooner than you think, but not anytime soon. I want to steer away from Sonic for the time being. Let's see, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom. Phantom M Knights 321 asks, when will you get the Sonic Unleashed in either this channel or Brain Scratch? I just really want to see you play that game. Sorry. Well, Sonic Unleashed is the next Sonic game we're doing for Brain Scratch, and Lewis is the one handling the recording duties, so as soon as he's done recording it, then we'll get to it. The best thing I can do for you is to see if we'll get it done by sometime before the end of this year. But that is the next Sonic game we're doing, so hold your head up high. We'll get there. Maniac Lego Man asks, hi Johnny, should we be expecting a 3D Mario review marathon? Basically 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2, and 3D World? Just curious, Alex. I was actually deeply considering that after I finished the PlayStation review and the marathon that's going to happen right after that review. I'm shooting for summer. I figured, needs the summertime to play some 3D Mario games. It seems appropriate, especially with the likes of Super Mario Sunshine. It's a lousy excuse, but that's generally when I think I'm going to start reviewing those games. So I hope you look forward to it. Dex Wild One asked, are you going to any other conventions other than PAX and Too Many Games? At the time being, no. PAX and Too Many Games are pretty much the only conventions I can afford without, going over the budget. And I have to keep those financial responsibilities in mind, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm limited to what I have. Pyro Monster asks, pardon me if you get this question a lot. I've already answered this question in a previous video, but how did you get started as a Let's Player? Let's playing was something I just decided to do after I was already a year with Brain Scratch at that point, and I figured, I can do this too. I mean, why not? I mean, I open up my own channel and get Elliot involved. He's not really doing anything else at the moment. At the time I decided to make that channel, and initially when I started SGB Likes to Play, it was just me, and I did about a total of one game. Or was it one or two games? I don't remember off the top of my head. But then I ended up deleting those. And I brought Elliot in with me. And really the rest is history. Ever since I brought Elliot with me, that eventually led to bringing Matt in for the channel. And now the channel is the way you see it is now. And I'm really happy that it has exploded the way it has. And, all right, Console Crew asks, Johnny, no pun intended, but what drew you into drawing? What made you interested in doing animations? I've been drawing since as early as 5 years old, and I can still recall the very first drawing I ever made, which was it was a picture of Bambi's mom, because I was Disney nut back then, and I think that was one of the first Disney films I ever saw. I made it for like kindergarten or preschool, one of those two. That was the very first drawing I ever did, and throughout elementary school, throughout middle school, I would draw a hell of a lot of pictures. I even made my own little comics that were humongous rip-offs of like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. I think I burned all of them. And it was around high school where my art teacher, Miss Witt, showed me this program that allowed me to go to this college that wasn't too far from the high school. That is pretty much like an animation seminar. I spent about 3 weeks there learning the basic fundamentals of animation, and after drawing millions and millions of pictures, traditional pictures, and giving them to the guy, he made it a VHS tape of the very first cartoon I ever made, which was pretty much a guy punching a balloon. It was very simple stuff, but to see all those pictures that I made move after spending so much time in them and seeing, it's like creating life, it just captivated me. And it was at that point in time where I realized, I think I want to do this more and more. I'm still really rough around the edges, mind you, but it was around that time that I realized, all right, I think I'm going to stick with this. And, well, I mean, I'm juggling a lot of things nowadays, besides, drawing stuff or animating stuff for clients. I got this Let's Play channel. I have the review channel too, the commentary channel as well. I'm just all over the place, really. The only thing I haven't done is skydiving. I guess I really didn't answer the question of what drew me into drawing. I just did it and I happen to love it. Two Halos asks, what do you really think of the rest of the Braid Scratch crew? What's there to think? They're my best friends. Well, some of my best friends anyway. I still have Matt here. I have my guys in West Pennsylvania. They're some of the greatest friends I ever made, I'll tell you that, because we just... I really can't explain it, really. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone here listening has those group of friends that you just love hanging out with, but you can't exactly describe why you like hanging out with them. You just do. And that's what I think. Someone important, would you ever consider doing a review marathon of some of the Half-Life games? I actually own Half-Life 1 and 2 thanks to the Steam summer sale last year. I think I got like Half-Life 2 and all of its expansions and for like $3. So I have all these icons on my desktop and it's very cluttered as a result, but I do have access to the games. I guess it's just a matter of time of when I finally feel like sitting down and playing the games for myself. That's pretty much what I can say. Random Reject 99 asks, who were your favorite wrestlers during the time you watched the WWF? I had a lot, actually. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Mankind, The Undertaker, obviously. Triple H, when he was, an over-the-top heel. D-Generation X, really, as a whole, except for X-Pac. I didn't really like X-Pac. And like in tag team actions, I always enjoyed watching the Hardy Boys because they were very acrobatic. A Hardcore Holly, along with his brother, who claimed they were like 800 pounds total when they clearly were not. I can go on and on with that one, but yeah, that's just to name a few. But AP Lackakis asks, what's your take on the degradation of the main Final Fantasy games? Hopefully 15 will solve that. Well, I mean, if I was in charge of the franchise, I would understand why you would feel the need to change the formula a bit for the sake of it not getting stale. I mean, they've been doing that since 7. With the materia system, then they had the junction system at 8, and then 9 went back a bit, which is why everyone loves it. Then 10. Every Final Fantasy after that pretty much changed the formula. But and it's just because it's at the risk of it becoming stale. But at the same time, I believe that they're so worried about it getting stale that they don't focus on the fun factor. It's like, yeah, this Final Fantasy is different, but is it fun? That's what's really important to me. You can be different all you want. It's like, oh, it's like, we're totally not doing this same thing over and over again. Active time battle, that's a thing of the past. You know, turn-based, nah, I'm not gonna have that. The leader dies and the entire game is over? Yeah, sure, why not? But is the game fun? And if you can't answer that, and if I don't feel if it's fun the moment I play it, then you lost a customer. I can't really say much about 15, obviously. But I will get the game when it comes out. You know, because I was there when 13 came out day one, and 15 left a better impression on me, but I'm still cautious. Not even optimistically cautious, I'm just cautious. Bookster64 asks, for someone who would like to start a PlayStation collection, who knows full well that a PS4 is out of the question, would you recommend getting a PS2 or a PS3? There are a lot of games for each of them that I like to get, but the PS3 is still kind of expensive. Well, I mean, granted, the PS3 is nowhere near as expensive as it used to be. Remember, that son of a bitch was $599 US when it came out. The PS2 is cheaper than dirt nowadays, so, and I still believe it has one of the best library of games out there. So, if you really want to start somewhere, PS2, and then in due time you get a PS3 and the PS3's library is not as healthy as PS2, but you also have the PlayStation Network store, which you can download the PlayStation 1 classics if you really want to. You have access to a lot of digital-only games too, like indie titles and stuff like that. So start with the PS2 because it's cheaper, and so we're buying the PS2 games. Well, a healthy amount of them anyway. And then move to PS3 when you have the chance. And then maybe in 6 years' time, you'll get a PS4. Evil Dr. Shu asks, what is your favorite review that you've made? And this is actually a question I get quite a number of times for some odd reason, but if I have to answer it, well, if I have to give an answer of some sort, then, you know what, I really can't answer that, because, like, I'm glad that there are some reviews that really put a smile on people's faces and stuff like that, but the process of making a review all feels the same to me unless it's a game that I absolutely love to play. Like, when I'm playing a game like, when I'm reviewing a game like Super Metroid or Castlevania Symphony of the Night, then making the review is really easy. You know, recording the footage is a cinch, writing a script is a cinch. But in terms of just when it's all said and done and export it and upload it to the channel, settings all saved, I can't name a review that's a favorite one to me. I can just say that the Sonic 06 review was a very big pain in the ass to edit. That's not to say that's my least favorite review that I ever made. It's just it's the one that took the longest, and I think it clearly shows. Awesome Dude 1996-14. If you could have any fictional character as a friend, who would you want to have as a friend? My boy. If you would clearly remember the Silver the Hedgehog playthrough in Sonic 06, I really grew an infatuation with Hats and the Pigeon. I still do not get why that character exists within this game, but I'm pretty sure he's a swell dude. I like to have him as my best friend. My carrier pigeon too, he'd deliver mail for me. Pine595 asks, John, have you played any of the classic Doom games? Not really. I've seen Doom in action plenty of times. Like in the mid-90s, I used to visit this bar a lot because my mom used to work there. And the owner of the bar had a PlayStation out on display, and that's where I discovered the likes of like Road Rash. And it was Doom. He played Doom on the thing, and that's pretty much it. Though I have Doom on the like Xbox Live because it was cheap that day, and I figured, hey, why not? I'll buy it. I have Doom and Wolfenstein actually, and I haven't taken the time to play it. Jarrett Little asks, most wanted Smash 4 newcomer? You know, that is very hard to think about, because what franchise in Nintendo that has Nintendo not covered that's still relevant to this day? Well, I mean, they still have Ice Climbers and Mr. Game & Watch. I guess relevancy doesn't really mean anything, but no, I can't think of any newcomers, but just for the sake of returning, I would like to see Mewtwo return, if only because, why not? He was getting a push throughout Pokemon X and Y, thanks to his Mega Evolution form, so I figured, yeah, well, why don't you bring Mewtwo back? I mean, you brought Lucario back, okay, well, why don't you bring Mewtwo back? Come on, do it. SX Kitsune asks, I'll do my best and hope my question is original enough. Do you ever plan on playing Rockman 4 minus Infinity? First off, what name is that? What kind of name is that? And secondly, I know what you're talking about. And in time. Because, you know, obviously classic Mega Man doesn't stop with Mega Man's 1 through 10. There's still Street Fighter Cross Mega Man to look at, and there's like the 8-bit versions of Mega Man games that are out there. So there's still plenty of stuff to look at, but, you know, I spent a good chunk of the summer and fall looking at Mega Man games, so just want to back off a bit, just a bit. SL75 asks, how long do you think you will continue doing reviews and Let's Plays until I get arthritis in my joints? My right knee's already gone, though, so maybe it's the sign of the times. No, and on a serious note, I guess when I feel like stopping, that's pretty much it. As long as there is a person I can entertain, I doubt that. Aura Brawler X asks, how are you progressing in terms of your animations? And if you don't mind me cheating, another question, would you ever animate a past Let's Play of yours, or both on SGB Let's Play or Brain Scratch Comms, like what Game Grumps fans do? I sort of already do that with the Minecraft files animated that I make for Chimney Swift 11. You know, because I'm pretty much taking audio from previous audio, you know, Minecraft files that he does and making an animation out of it. So yeah, I am familiar with that practice. I do it myself every once in a while. But in terms of just animations, I plan on starting a new one, not Minecraft files animated, a new one for Some Call Me Johnny, around the beginning of April, right after I get out of PAX East. Actually, once I get back home, I'm going to start working on a new animation because it's about time I begin making a new one for Some Call Me Johnny, and I got one in mind. So I hope you guys look forward to it when I begin working on it. I'm not going to make a release date, obviously, because I learned my lesson from that. But considering my schedule is not as strict as it was before because, you know, of what I do nowadays, but I'm still going to take my time with it, and hopefully you guys will look forward to it maybe sometime within the next few months. That's all I can say, though. Thanks for asking, though. America Senpai 1549. Do you think there should be a Silver the Hedgehog game with better gameplay mechanics and a better backstory? I couldn't really care about the backstory, but gameplay, yeah, why not? You know, Shadow got his own spin-off game. I don't see why the hell Silver can't get his. That is to say, you know, Sega would do that nowadays. I highly doubt it. But if there was one, when push comes to shove, I'd give it a shot. If only because, you know, having telepathy or telekinesis, that can make for a really fun time if you do it right. Stuvkov Wolfwood asks, have you ever thought about learning Spanish? I took 2 classes of Spanish in high school, and I did just enough to pass them, and that's pretty much it. And if anything, if I speak Spanish, it's pretty much like street Spanish, and I still can't I still can't construct a sentence. It's like I'm borderline Spanglish, and I say borderline because I'm still mostly English. And I'm surrounded by people in the neighborhood, and you know, where I live, with people that just speak nothing but Spanish, and you absorb it after a while, but I still can't construct a sentence. So hopefully, I would like to learn a second language, and if it's going to be anything, it'll probably be Spanish first. Kevin Belmont asks, your opinion on the Castlevania Lords of Shadow series? At the time of this recording, I still haven't played it yet. I have very little experience with 3D Castlevania games in general, like, you know, Lament of Innocence or Curse of Darkness, the 64 games, and then Lords of Shadow. I hear Lords of Shadow are pretty much the best ones that you should spend any time on. So, and Lords of Shadow 2, I think, just came out, didn't it? Or is it still not out yet? I don't remember at the moment. But you know, in time, when I go back to Castlevania for Some Call Me Johnny, obviously I'm going to be looking at the 3D Castlevania games soon enough, so I better get to practicing in time. Dr. J. Overlord. I always knew he was an Overlord. Warning, this question doesn't contain Sonic. Have you ever played Hatsune Miku Project Diva F? No, I've seen it in action, though, because before a recording session with me, Elliot, and Matt, I think Elliot downloaded the game thanks to his the PS Plus subscription that he has, and it reminded me a lot of if you guys ever played like Guitaru Man, it's pretty much a rhythm game on the PS2. It's also on the PSP, I believe, where you pretty much use the face buttons or the analog sticks or the triggers to hit notes in time with the music, and it's like Dance Dance Revolution, only use your fingers. And you know, the only thing I could say is that I've seen it in action. I know who you're talking about. That chick, that android diva with the very long ponytails. And and stuff like that. So I've seen it in action, never played it. Beamon98 asks, John, what is your favorite game console of all time? That's hard. I can't name a favorite, but I can name my favorites. The Super Nintendo, PS2. 3DS, actually, that's turning out to be a fantastic handheld. But if you just want consoles, then yeah, just stick with PS2, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1. Very experimental during that phase. Yeah, you know what? It's around those two because, like, in terms of like the consoles I have with the biggest game library I have, it's the PS2. First off, and Super Nintendo's right up there, and I'm slowly rebuilding my collection for other consoles I used to flourish in back in the mid to late '90s. But you should get a 3DS though. It's great shit. The Dungeon Master asks, here's a question. What do you think of the Dark Knight trilogy in comparison to the Batman '89 continuity? Well, I mean, no film was perfect, obviously. For the longest time, Batman '89 was my favorite Batman film, and it still is for the most part, though you get older, you start to look at all the problems it has. I won't go into it, but, you know, the Nolan verse, which was an attempt to make Batman more down to earth, with the guy that dresses a bat. And it just in terms of a good movie, you know, I love Batman Begins. I love The Dark Knight especially. The Dark Knight Rises is okay, but it's one of those that you start seeing all the problems when you really start watching it multiple times or just thinking about it in general. But, you know, if I'm going to be completely honest here, I like the Nolan verse a little more than the Burton verse. And I say Burton verse because I don't like Forever and I don't like Batman and Robin. No, those are Joel Schumacher productions. But I still get my jollies from Batman '89, and I still enjoy watching Batman Returns every now and then. But if I'm just looking for a decent film in just from beginning to end, you know, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight are just films I just like watching. No matter what time of the day, no matter when it's on, I just love watching those films. So Sonicu1314 asks, Johnny, what type of music genre, such as classical, jazz, or rock, do you mainly listen to? Thank you for your time. And this is, I think I saw another question somewhere around here that asked me, you know, what caused me to have such a varied taste in music? And the answer is video games. You know, video games, there's so many of them, and you're exposed to so many of them, that you're also exposed to that game's soundtrack, and every video game has a different soundtrack. It could be hard rock, it could be orchestral, it could be jazzy, it could be pop, techno, all that stuff. And it really, you know, opens your ears and lets you sample all those musical genres. And eventually that just led me to liking that type of music in general. So, but in terms of what I favor, no, I love orchestral stuff, I love jazz especially, and I love a good rocking song. So those are my preferences, but you can pretty much thank video games for exposing me to all those genres to begin with. Sahi Pao asks, will SGB cover games in the Shin Megami Tensei franchise other than Persona? That's up to Matt. You know, he's pretty much the Atlas guy, if I can classify it as any other way. But that's up to Matt. Crank That SNES asks, Johnny, how do you possibly keep that beard so well groomed? It's called a barbershop. You know, unless my mustache starts overgrowing over my lips and I have to feel that son of a bitch every time I eat something or just talking, then I will use a pair of clippers and do the job myself. But for the most part, I usually just have the thing groomed and trimmed when I go to a barbershop. And I am quite the wolfy man at the moment. I need to go back. So Joe0142 asks, will you ever play the Ace Attorney series on your Let's Play channel or review them on your other channel? I don't know, to be perfectly honest, because the Ace Attorney series are visual novels. It's like you're Let's Playing a book. Or it's like you're Let's Playing a comic, I should be more precise. And, I mean, you guys had no problem with us doing Metal Gear Solid, I suppose, but, you know, with something like the Ace Attorney series, you're just choosing the right piece of evidence or investigating the right pixel at the given time, and that's pretty much it. A lot of static screens, a lot of static portraits that move when they're reacting to something. I would have to think hard about that. James Laho asks, will you ever review the Mother/Earthbound series? Earthbound was one of those games that I gave a shot via emulation so many years ago, and it didn't do anything for me. I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. It's been years since I last fully played it, not counting that one time I played it for a stream. I think it was like last year, and I'm doubtful, but you know, I've grew up obviously since then. Maybe my tastes have matured, or maybe they just opened my eyes a bit more. I'm going to give it one more shot, just for the sake of saying that I did. And if I think I can review it, then I'll review it. But just Earthbound at the moment, because I have no interest in looking at Mother for the NES or Mother 3 for the Game Boy Advance and stuff like that. So you know, that's the best I can answer that, dude. Alexander the Anderson asks, "Hey John, do you like Hellsing?" Well, considering it's Alex Anderson asking me this, I fear my life if I say yes. But I'm going to say it anyway, yeah, because Hellsing was actually the very first a manga I ever fully completed from beginning to end. And yeah, I like it. It's really good stuff. I even watched the initial anime that was released that has nothing to do with the manga after it goes past like the Valentine Brothers. Yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, I'm talking to those obviously who haven't seen it yet, give it a watch. I think it's pretty interesting. Mr. Game Freak 197 asks, "Would you ever look into the Mass Effect trilogy?" The Mass Effect series was always something I saw on the damn shelves every time I went to a GameStop or a Walmart, and there was one point where I was really close to buying the entire set because they were all very cheap, including the third game, and I just decided to cancel the very last second for the sake of a Pro Controller on the Wii U. So, sorry about that, but just got to wait a little longer, I suppose. Alright, so for the final question, we have one from KHM Darkness. "John, I've been wondering for a while, but have you ever considered LPing one of the Fable games? Or at least the first one, since Fable Anniversary was just released, and we all know we like to do things in chronological order. Also looking forward to the Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories Let's Play." Fable. I played the first Fable. I played a few hours of the first Fable, and dude, that bored the hell out of me. It bored me. I'm sorry, it bored the hell out of me. I'm not saying the game's design is shit or anything like that, but it just put me to sleep. Just to keep it short for the sake of the video, I highly doubt that, man. I really do. I'm sorry to say that, but it's really hard when a game bores me. It's easy when it's bad because you can riff on the fucking thing, but when it's boring, you just talking about it drains you. Oh man. But that is the end of the Silver playthrough, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to continue with the questions, starting with Shadow's very hard playthrough, and holy shit. You know, I'll just wait until the beginning of the playthrough to explain all that. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow night with more videos.